Hey folks, how you doing? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report, and what I was going to do here in the next few months is I'm going to be releasing videos sporadically on sports handicapping, some tips, and sharing my information, my knowledge with the novice sports bettor, even the experienced sports bettor who want to get better. You know, I coach football, and I always say it's about getting better every day, right? You hear it all the time. Coaches says, one day at a time, one game at a time. And it's the same type of mentality you got to have in sports betting. And if you are new to the Raymond Report and you're wondering who I am, my name is Ron Raymond. I've been handicapping sports for 24 years. I'm located in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. That's right, I'm a crazy Canuck. And I'm also the author of Ron Raymond's Top 50 Sports Betting Secrets. I wrote this book in 2009, I believe. It's listed on Amazon. And I'm also the founder of the World Series of Handicapping Pro Football Contest. We are going into our 10th season. All right, so now you know a little bit about me, and you know where I hang my hat each and every day right here at ATS Stats or on our YouTube channel. I'm going to kick off the series of videos with the first one here being about a checklist, right? I think anytime you're investing, either stocks, cryptocurrency, sports betting, you need some type of checklist. You need some type of fundamentals to fall on. And I believe in sports betting, my fundamentals of sports betting, as you will see in this article that I will post here on our website, is value, percentage play, and the performance cycles. And I will go through all those three later on in this video. All right, so sports handicappers daily checklist or sports bettors daily checklist before breaking down the games on the day. Now today is April 26th. We're going to take a look at the games for Major League Baseball, NBA, and NHL. And just to give you an idea of what I do each and every day with my checklist, and I'm going to go through some things here that might be a little bit advanced, but that's why this video is going to be good, so that way you can watch it every day, rewind it, and it might be a little bit lengthy, but I'll try to keep it under 20 to 30 minutes, so this way you get a good grasp on the way I think, the way I approach the markets, right? And speaking of the markets, the thing in sports betting, my good friend Ross Benjamin says all the time, you got to think like a bookmaker. And the objective of sports betting is to make money, right? And money management is one thing that a lot of handicappers and bettors don't really talk about because, to be honest, they're not successful at it. And I'm not trying to, downplay anybody. It's just, I'll ask you this question that I ask all my clients and all the handicappers. When was the last time you cashed out? When was the last time you cashed out and cashed a check, a ticket, and you made money sports betting, right? The thing is, 90% of bettors lose. Believe it or not. Ask any sports book. There's a reason why it says sports book and doesn't say bank, right? When you enter Vegas or offshore, these guys are making a lot of money because a lot of people, they'll put in their money in the sports book account. And, and the aggressive marketing, you see it all the time on the commercials, right? DraftKings, FanDuel, these guys are spending a lot of money advertising and they're being aggressive and they want player acquisitions. But the thing is, yeah, you can sign up with any of those sports books or the offshore ones, but the idea and the goal is not to keep sending them money. It's pulling out money, right? It's like your bank, you put in your money in the bank, and if you got to, go to the instant machine or, you want to get some money out, you want to pull it out knowing that you can. And that's the same type philosophy in investing, right? And the one thing you got to really determine, and, in high school, I used to have this great job. It called Randy River. I don't know if they had it in the States, but it was here in Canada. And I was a salesperson, right? I was selling clothes. And they sent us to these seminars. And I always remember the first thing they said, whenever you approach a customer, number one rule, determine the needs, right? Determine the needs. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to determine your needs and find out why you're sports betting. And I have a theory. And my theory is this. If you are betting on sports, you are either, I put you in two classes. You're either an action investor, and the action investor is the person who he doesn't care if he wins or loses, but there's a game on TV and he needs action. He needs an incentive to watch. He needs, or she needs, to be able to say, you know what, my interest is about my benefit of the money that I got on this game, right? Or are you a sports investor? And the sports investor is the person who wants to make money in the long run, right? The action investor is basically a day trader. But the sports investor, he's playing the long game. He wants to win money in the long run, and he wants to cash out. The action investor very rarely cashes out. The action investor is a day trader, and he's probably or she's probably replenishing their accounts every 2 weeks, playing the bonuses. Number one rule, and I'll tell you this right now, whenever you sign up with a sports book, do not accept the bonus. I know a lot of people will say you can't tell people that. Yeah, well, the thing is, and because people think if you deposit $100, we'll give you $200 in your account, but they don't tell you there's a 10 times rollover, and then people get all excited and happy, they win their money, and then the managers or the customer service will say, well, you haven't rolled it over 10 times yet. And they're like, well, what's that mean? It means you got to bet it 1,000 times. Like if you put $100, you got to bet $1,000 before you can start cashing out. And guess what happens? You're not winning, So if my number one rule, if you ever a sports book offers you a bonus, do not take it, because unless, and I'll put an asterisk, unless there's no rollover rules, right? If there's any type of rules where you can't cash out, and I think it's very important to inform the public and educate the public about this, because a lot of the public don't know about that, right? They just see the aggressive marketing of the sports books and how they want to have you sign in and put in your money, and then they'll give you a bonus. But again, find out what the rollover rules are. And okay, now back to the action investor and sports investor, right? If you're an action investor, you're impulsive, right? And it's just you want it that day. But if you're a sports bettor investor and you're in for the long run, then you got to pick your spots. You got to be diligent. You got to be patient. And not every day is going to be Picasso. I say it all the time. Not every day is a sports betting investment day. You're going to get days where there's two games, 1 game, 3 games, 10 games on weekends. You got to pick your spots and understand the markets. That it's just like buying stocks, right? What's the old adage in the stock market? You buy low, you sell high. And how do you do that in sports betting? Streaks. Whenever streaks are the teams are on these winning streaks, then that's their high point. You don't want to buy at a high point. You want to buy at the low point when they're losing, right? But what type of team are losing? And I'll get through that with the Raymond report. All right. So if you see this, I wrote down feeling the market temperature. Put your toe in the water, right? So before you bet on your daily games, what you want to do is I do anyways at ATS is I go check out the sports betting index, and I'll get to that in a second. And I check out the current market conditions, and then I examine what's come in the last couple of days. Are we in a favored market? Are we in an underdog market? Are we in an over market, under market? Understand what has come in the last few days. So this way, you don't bet into a high. We talk about the high lows. You don't want to buy. You don't want to buy Tesla when it's $800, right? You want to buy it when it's at $420 or something like that. What does the bookmaker need to balance the books, right? I'll give you an example. In the NHL this year, the bookmakers started off with high lines of totals, right? 6.5. Everything was coming under. So they realized, like, oh man, our lines are too high. So what did they do halfway through? Every line was close to 5.5. And now they balanced the book, right? So those are the edges you got to look for. Those are the edges you got to find. And the only way you really find those edges is by examining and having a toe in the water. Know what's going on in the markets. Spot investing opportunities to see, again, if you're an action investor or a sports investor. And daily money management. And I'm going to show you using the SBI how to control your money and when is a good time. Like say if you are I'll use $100. If your max, your 5-unit play or your 5-star play or your 5 units is $100, and we'll use units because it's much. In units is, let's say I'm a $100 bettor, and if I'm going to play 5 units on a game, that means I'm going to bet $500. If I don't, depending on the markets, if I know the markets are a good time to bet this team or underdogs or favorites, then I love the spot I'm in, I'll put $500. That's 5 units. If we're in a high market of favorites coming in all the time, or the overs coming in, and I don't like the current markets, then I'll bet 1 unit, right? And that's what you got to do with the market conditions, is figure out when is a good time to put a 5% play or a 5-unit play compared to a 1-unit play, right? And then you can do 2, 3, and 4 units if you wish. But the markets should dictate how you spend your money or how you bet on the games, right? All right, let's take a look at this here. Bill Parcells says it all the time. You are what your record says you are, right? And as much as you would love to bet those 10-point underdogs and have them win and cover all the time, don't expect bad teams to win on a consistent basis. Whenever you handicap a full slate of games, especially in Major League Baseball, the one thing I do is I have to understand that, what kind of market we in, and number two, I can't expect bad teams to win for me on consistent basis. And that's why in the Raymond report, I will never bet on teams below 500. I label my teams A, B, and C. A-type teams are teams above 60% in the standings. B-type teams are 50 to 59.9%. And C-type teams, those are your bottom dwellers, right? Those are your basement teams. And those teams are just, unfortunately, they're bad teams. And they're just, if you expect good things to happen with those teams, well, you're going to be disappointed a lot. All right, so now let's see here what we're at. Now I'm suggesting eliminating bad teams from your daily research. Okay, so I'm not suggesting eliminating bad teams from your daily research, but if you shop for value on teams with a winning record and play the percentages, you will put yourself in a better advantage situation to win or cover. Now, what that means is, I'm not telling you, look, if the Cleveland Browns are 3-8 on the season and they're a 3-point favorite this weekend, I'm not saying eliminate those teams, but by betting on those teams, but by eliminating those teams, you are this, like Bill Parcells says, you are what your record says you are, but you're hoping that 3-8 Cleveland Brown teams, that's a 3-point or a 6-point favorite this weekend, is going to win for you, right? But what's their record? The record already tells you we're not a good team, and the bookmakers have put us a favorite this week against maybe another bad team, right? So you got two bad teams playing for each other, and this is where you got to say to yourself, okay, am I an action investor or a sports investor? Or am I in a contest? It's different. Now, contests are completely different when you're in a contest and you're looking for winners, right? And sometimes you don't have a choice depending on the contest you're in. But those are things, I will not bet on teams below 500. It's just, for me as a sports investor, you can't trust them, and there's better opportunities. And the thing is, you got to determine, am I a sports bettor? And if you are a sports investor, you can be patient and just wait for the right moment to bet on a certain team, right? Two things for certain: when you play percentages, you will either hit 0 or 100% of your plays, right? There's no in between. And when you bet, you either win or lose. There's no middle ground. There's no middle ground in winning or losing. However, you can research past situations to see if prior results of the current situations are in your favor from a percentage play point of view. So let me repeat that. Two things are for certain when you play the percentages, right? So I say it all the time, shop for value, play the percentages. Are the percentages in your favor? So when you play the percentages, you know that you will either hit 0% or 100% of your plays. There is no middle ground in winning or losing, unless you push, right? If you push, then you get your money back, but that's still, you're not winning. It's still 0. However, you can research past situations to see if prior results of the current situations are in your favor from a percentage play point of view. Now, I always play the percentages, right? When I do my handicapping, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. When I handicap the games, I look for value, and the way I look for value is I have my own line, and then I will see if the percentages, according to the market conditions, are in my favor that day. Now, I'm going to have a video where, this is an article, so people who are reading this article will be able to watch this video, and I'm going to get to the value aspect right now. All right, so I'm going to go to the Raymond report, and I'm going to use NBA today. I'm going to go to NBA, and I'm going to go to the premium report. And let's go to, let's see here. Let's go Memphis against Denver. That's a pretty good matchup. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do when I the first thing I do when I wake up every morning or when I handicap, I print off my worksheet. So if you go to ATS Stats, you'll see in the right column here, I got printable worksheets. And the first thing I do is I go to NBA, and then I will print off this tip sheet. And this basically saves me all the trouble of knowing which team is on a streak, the forecast, their computer forecast, the percentage play. That gives me the odds. It gives me the line value. And speaking of line value, that's what I'm looking for right now, right? So Denver is a 4-point favorite this evening against Memphis. The total is 228. Now, what I do is I go to my VI, which stands for Value Index, and I will look at the current line the bookmaker has put out on minus 4.98, for the Denver Nuggets, and they have it right at 4. So I know if I'm betting on Denver, then I know we have a good value, right? And Memphis, I had it at minus 1.4, so I know that plus 4 is excellent value on Memphis. And when I look at the teams, and I see the line value, I know I'm getting good line value. And when I look at the computer selection right here on the computer picks, I have it at 226.77, and the total is 228. So pretty close to the bookmaker's line, right? Now, before we get more into the value, the percentage play, I talked about earlier the shop for value, play to percentages, and the SBI, right? So let me go back to my article, and let me see, where did I put that article? No, that's not it there. Hang on, let me bring it over. Maybe it's this one here. Yeah, it was this one here. All right, so there it is. So, sports betting index. So the first thing I do, I should have done this before I did the SBI, but hey, you know what? Have a coffee, sit down, relax, and let's let's enjoy this, right? All right, so let's go to SBI. And this SBI is the sports betting index. So, right, first thing I do before I even get to the tip sheet is I come and check out the current market conditions, right? I want to see what has come in the last day, 3 days, 7 days, 1 month, and year-to-date average in the NBA, straight up, over, under, and ATS. And these market conditions will give you an idea what the bookmaker needs, right? So if we look at the NBA in the last 7 days, favorites have won 57, 63, 57, 83, 67, 60, 59. So you can see it's about 65% straight up, right? Now let's go take a look against the point spread. Now the red is obviously bad, the green is good. So everything in green points to the underdog. So this way visually I can see that, all right, the dogs are pretty good right here, having a good week. If I look at the current up here, I can see that on the 3-day average, underdogs have won 59.3%, 55% in the 7-day average. So we're pretty neutral on the 7-day average. But when you look at the record here, 5-2, 4-4, 4-3, 5-1 for the favorites this day. Then we had a pretty good string of days here for the underdog, right? 6-3, 3-2, 5-3, 5-3. Now, the bookmaker, what we want to do is look at the year-to-date line down here. So on the point spread, the bookmaker's done a pretty good job. Look at this. 51.4% of the favorites have come in and 47.9% of the underdogs. So that tells me there's maybe about a 3% push average, right? 3% of games that pushed. Over-unders, same thing. 51.8, 48.3. This is where the bookmaker, and you can tell the type of betting people are making, right? People are betting point spread and over-unders, and you can see they're right there between in order for the bookmaker to make money, they got to hit between, I'd say, 47 to 54%, that range, to make their vigorous, right? And the vigorous is, let's say me and you are betting, and the odds are minus 3, and we're betting $100. So let's say we're betting the 11-10 rule. We give $110 to the bookmaker. I give 110. You give 110. He has 220. You win the bet. He gives you back your 110 back plus my 100, but he keeps my 10. So that's his vigorous. That's where he made his money. So he makes $10 on normally on everybody on ballast action, right? So if I'm betting 110, you're betting 110. That's 220. Whoever wins the bet wins $210. Then the bookmaker keeps his 10. All right. So that's how they make their money, and that's why they try to keep the ratio here between 48 to 50. Yeah. It could vary, right? It all depends how, what other action they're getting on other events that they're betting. But typically they'd like to keep this close to the 50% mark, as even as possible from a market psychology point of view. This way they know the betting public doesn't favor, right? Because if we come here and we see, oh wow, look at this, on the imagine if underdogs were winning 59.3% of the year, where do you think people are going to be betting? And the bookmakers will be, taking out behind the woodshed, right? Over-under, same thing. Over-under is always amazing how balanced they keep it. So knowing in the NBA, we're on the season average, they're very balanced. So from a long cycle point of view, they're doing okay. Over-unders and against the point spread. And in the short term, so on the 7-day average, I say it's a neutral market. So right now, if I'm going to handicap the games, I'm seeing the last couple of days, that underdogs have been winning. So maybe the favorites is where I probably, like, if I'll wait to the 7-day average to see if we have another couple of days of underdogs. What did I say at the beginning, right? Buy low, sell high. So right now, if underdogs are winning the week, then that means we're high on underdogs, right? So we got to wait. Maybe I would wait for the 7-day average. If we have another 1 day or two of underdogs coming, then I'm going to start looking for favorites because they're going to make an adjustment and the favorites are going to have to come in, right? If you look at the history down here, so let's take a look at the history of this season. So it started off with a push here, then the underdog. Then after a big underdog day, look at this, a 5-0 to the for the favorites. And then we had a string of underdogs. And then look at that, a reversal right here. So the key to determining the markets is find out when's a good opportunity to bet either an underdog or favorites, right? 8-2, 7-3. So if I saw 8-2, 7-3, then I know I'm getting pretty close to the favorites coming in, right? 3-2, and then bang, there's that opportunity. So on this day, as a sports investor, I probably would have hammered the underdogs on this day. And then now that if I would have won, then I would have waited and see when the next opportunity. So look at this. Look at the underdogs win here, right up to here. And then we started seeing, and it's not going to be a big, reckless, big day for the favorites. Now we're just seeing a slow reversal right here, right? But, when you look at this, 4-3, 4-4, I'm looking for like a 10-1 day. I'm looking for a big, big day that the underdogs just went crazy. Then I can see maybe a reversal coming, and that's when the markets will be hotter to bet, right? And normally, like if I'm looking here, look at this right here, 8-2, then we had a push the next day, and then another 8-2, and then the favorites are 3-2. So it's not a big opportunity right here, but what you want to do is you want to look for a string of opportunities that it favors, and the bookmakers know that the betting public will bet a lot of favorites, right? It's very comfortable betting favorites. It's very uncomfortable betting underdogs, especially when you're wanting to win straight up. So it's been this year in money in spread sports. It's very tough to figure out. So here's an opportunity, right? So you saw a 6-1 dog day. Then the next day was 6-2 for the favorites. So those are the type of things that I'm looking for, and especially in let's say NHL. Let's go to NHL. You'll see that in moneyline sports, it seems to be a better opportunity to find those advantage. So let me go to SBI in the NHL, and I'll just go NHL and Major League Baseball too. Major League Baseball. Now, right now we're at April 26th, and we're in a favorites market. And I say these in my videos all the time. For some reason in hockey, ever since the trade deadline, which was April 13th, just a major run in favorites. Look at that. The trade deadline was here, and look at all the favorites. They've won ever since, right? But let's go back to the beginning of the year, and you see how the favorites won on a big, big run. And then, what you want to do is wait for an underdog opportunity. If you're in a favorite market for the year, then you're waiting for the underdog opportunity, right here. So on February 4th, the dogs went 6-2. So the next day you want to look for, that'd be a 5-unit day that I'd look for favorites. Then I'd look for the next underdog day, which was 6-4, and the favorites went 2-0 the next day. If I look here, the next one, 4-1, and then 3-2. So you see the favorites, they do win at a pretty good pace the next day after, buy low, sell high, right? And then here, 4-2, and then 4-3, 5-2, then 7-1, 4-2. Look at that, 8-1. That was a big day for the favorites after an underdog day. So you see how it works better with moneyline sports. 6-3, 4, 3-2 the next day, 3-2, 3-2. So it's a high percentage if you follow this system of when to pick your spots. And, as a sports investor, if you're an action investor, you're betting every day and you're losing your butt. So that's what I mean by putting your toe in the water, and go to the SBI, find out when's a good opportunity. Like if I go to Major League Baseball, now baseball's been an underdog. It's been an underdog season since the beginning of the year. So when I come here and I look at Major League Baseball, so if I look at Major League Baseball, 1 day for the underdog, then look at that, the favorites the next day. Look at this underdog here. Look at the favorites the next day. We had a big string of underdogs, and look at the next day right here, 10-4. So you really got to time your situation when you want to bet on either a favorite or an underdog after, using the analogy of, buy low, sell high. That's when you got to pick your spots, right? Like here was 2 big days of underdogs, 10-7, 11-2, obviously a couple double headers, but then the next day a 7-4, but you don't know, right? After a 10-7, you're thinking, okay, you know what, 10-7, this should be a dog day, but then it doesn't happen. So it's, again, percentages, right? It's never going to be the perfect Picasso that, but that's gambling. It's not, it's not a mutual fund here where we're guaranteeing you a 2% investment here or return on your investment. You got to pick your spots, just like here. Look at that. 9-6, 5-2, 8-6, and then after a big run of favorites, eventually every dog is going to have his day, right? Or a bad day. And sure enough, on the 23rd of April, 13-2, now the reversal. You see the reversal. So if you get your mindset into that type of thinking, then you're going to start understanding what the bookmaker needs and then where you should be looking to making a profit on sports betting. So, you know what? This video is already 26 minutes, so I think I'm going to just call this video the sports betting index video. In this way, an introduction, and I'll do another video because I want to keep these videos under a half hour. So this will be like video number 1. I'll do a part 2, but I think what I'll do is I'm going to break it off here. Let me go back to my article and make sure I'm not missing anything. Daily money management. We talked about that, right? We talked about picking your spots on 1 unit to a 5 unit, and like a day like here, if you see you're in an underdog role like this, and after 2 days you say, okay, I can't be betting 5 units because we're in a dog market. I'm just going to play 1 unit, and I'm going to pick my spots. Maybe I'm going to bet 1 game on a favorite, and hopefully when the tide does turn, now after a long string of days like this, that day, how do you time that day, right? You can't, but you got to be lucky to be good. And if you realize that the more days that you have in dog days like this, the higher the percentage play goes in your favor of the favorites cashing in the next day. And that's why I say all the time, shop for value, play the percentages. And if you play the percentages like I've shown you right here, and you're able to catch favorites on this day, and it was a 5 unit day, then you're smiling like a butcher's dog, right? All right, there you go. That's the SBI video, the money management video of series number 1. I'm going to do another video, and I'll call it series part 2, and I'll talk about value, percentage play, and the performance cycles. Again, folks, my name is Ron Raymond. I'm a sports handicapping champion, 4-time champion handicapper, and author of Ron Raymond's Top 50 Sports Betting Secrets, and the founder of the World Series of Handicapping pro football contest, which you can sign up for each and every year at worldseriesofhandicapping.com. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do have any questions or you want to ask me anything about sports betting, or you're interested in getting my premium picks each and every day, you go to ATS Stats, go to Picks, go to Ron Raymond, and on that page here, all you got to do is sign up, and you go right here to get my, you know what, I'm very affordable, $99 for the year, and you get, but in order to get this special price, you got to be a member of the website. If not, then you got to pay the daily price, which is like $40-50 for per ticket, per pick. But if you are a member and you show loyalty to the website, that's how I repay back my members, is by giving them a discount on my premium picks each and every day. And it's 27 cents a day, $99 for the year. And I win more than I lose. So there you have it. Again, if you have any questions about this video or the website or the Raymond Report, you can contact me at ronraymond@atsstats.com, or go to the website, hit the Contact Us button right here, leave your details, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. As always, shop for value, play those percentages. We'll see you back shortly with another Raymond Report. Cheers.